car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Revell, and this week I want to pull this kit out of my stash and talk about it. And I know many of you have done this. How many of you have bought a kit for nostalgic reasons? Not necessarily because it's cool or it was a great build or anything, but there's just something about it that you remember when you built it the first time, when the kit first came out. This is one of those kits for me right here. And it's kind of funny because I don't remember having hardly any problems with it. It was an early build because this kit's from like 1989, and I don't believe it's ever been reissued. Don't know why, but this, along with the Pontiac Banshee, I had that one as well and built it. But I enjoy building it, and it was kind of memorable to me, even though it was kind of a quick build and everything. But it's funny because as time's gone on, this car actually kind of, is much more significant now than I thought about it even back then. And even looking at it, you can see the design and styling. I look at that and then I see the Camaro, especially the later bug eye ones that they call them, the 98 to 02 Camaros. You can see that look in this car all over it. And then the way the spoiler is wrapped around and molded and kind of hugs the rear window, and the way it's made. I mean, there's just so much about this car that screams what it is. And the concept car was built in like 86, 87, and there was actually like 3 of them. I didn't know much about them. I knew that this had what looks like the LT5 engine in it, which didn't come out until the ZR1 Corvette, and this was one of the mid-engine Corvette concepts. This was called the Corvette Indy because it was kind of had an IndyCar engine in it. So it is and it isn't the LT5, but I'll get more into the history of the cars, as there was about 3 of them made, 3 or 5 of them. I know initially 2 were cranked out really fast. But for me, building this kit, I just remember buying it, and the thing I loved about Revell and monogram kits of the time, the 80s, is so many of them were molded in color. And that's, mainly it. Like this one, I remember I didn't paint the body. It's molded in red. I didn't paint the body. I still have the wheels, believe it or not. I'm going through my part stash, and the wheels I still have. I don't think I have any of the rest of the parts to it. So my original build didn't survive. Wasn't the greatest build anyway, because I remember just brush painting all around the windows and basically throwing it together. It was a 1 day, maybe 2 day build for me, but that's how a lot of them were in the beginning when I built them. I bought the kit and I cranked them out fast, and that was pretty much it. And mostly brush painted. The body wasn't painted. That's just how I remember. But this was, the kit's from '89, and at that time I was, 8th grade or freshman in high school. I just remember seeing the kit, and back then I didn't know much about the cars. I just bought the kit based on the box art. So, that's kind of what's going on with this. And this isn't a very detailed kit as far as it goes. But I'll show you the box here. And it talks briefly about it. It doesn't give you a parts count in here, but I don't think it has more than 100 parts. You see the engine right there, which I did read that this was one of the first appearance of the LT5 350 engine. And I glanced at this. The instructions kind of mention it, but that was a street car. The one that had the IndyCar variant of this had a twin turbo engine that looked real similar to this, but it was a much smaller displacement, but put out way more horsepower. But that was a highly tuned race motor that was not meant for the street. But this was just a design exercise, or they were just having fun with a concept. And then that's what I really remember about this. And it's funny, and I got this kit from a dear friend of mine, Scotty, who was selling at a swap meet. And, I was just reminiscing and, looking at all the kits. And this is one I mentioned. There was like 3 of them there. And I go, I remember this kit. And I said, I have fond memories of building it. And he's like, here, take it. He gave it to me. And it's completely unbuilt. Here's the chrome tree. Here's some of the engine parts right here. The intake. Very simplified kit. Big wheels, the headlights. But, like I said, a really simplified kit. And here's the glass. Again, not much to it if you haven't seen this kit before. And it's frosted, which is kind of a cool detail. And you can, you know, black them out. And I just remember brush painting the inside of all of that. I wouldn't want to be inside this car, especially in the Arizona summer. You would basically cook in there. Hopefully glass technology has come a long way as far as coatings and reflecting heat, but still, it's still glass, and that would be kind of uncomfortable. Before this falls off the tree, let's put that back in this tissue paper, which of course you didn't get that from Revell. And here's the rest of it. Matter of fact, this has never been opened, so let me just tear this open here. If I can get it out, here we go. But yeah, here's that body. And I mean, you can really see the, you know, the influence this has on the Camaro and even the Trans Am, the way it's back here from the 90s, even though this was developed 10 years before those cars were, but definitely got the, you know, a lot of the design cues in that. Here's a simplified interior tub with part of the engine compartment in the interior and the bucket seats and this crazy dash. And here's the trunk. Well, the engine cover, it's not really a trunk, and some of the suspension bits, but a real simplified kit. It's really a strange steering wheel. But if you've ever seen this kit, I mean, it's one, I see it all the time at the swap meets and stuff, so I don't know how many they made or how many were built. I know I built one. There's the very simplified chassis. And there's the wing right here. And a couple of fan belts, wiper, the scoops in the side door panels, which the dash completely wraps around, and all of this stuff. I don't know why both door panels have like all the exact same gauges, mirror image. I don't know if it was meant for left or right hand drive as far as that goes. Seems kind of redundant to have all of the same gauges on the other side. The simplified rear suspension and chassis. The Revell of 89 molded in right here, which I'm inclined to sand that off if I build this again. Not quite sure what that is. I think that's part of the windshield base. Oh yeah, that's the grill that goes in here. And then here's the wheels and the engine. Not much here, but you know, some gauge pods, all kinds of stuff. But I'll have to flash back. And then here's the instructions and the decals, of course. The Corvette Indy Dream Machine and Corvette Indy. I hope these look really good, and maybe I'll have to send my subscription in. But here's where it talks about the Indy being a tour de force. And let's see, overhead camshaft V8 350 6K motor is a 32 valve. So it talks about the sneak peek of basically the LT5 engine that didn't come out until like 89. But this car, you know, by the time the kit was issued in 89, we already pretty much knew about the ZR1. But when this car was developed in 86, 87, it was one of the first appearances of that test motor. And so let's get a glimpse of these pretty simple instructions here. Yeah, this ought to be a quick, fun build if I decide to tackle it sometime, but it's one that really interests me. And these have really good tires too. Remember these tires. Yeah, Eagle ZR 35. Goodyear Eagle ZR 35s. But yeah, definitely some meaty tires here. Definitely ahead of their time from back then. And then here's something that cracks me up that was in the box here, because I didn't break the seal. Yeah, a nice, I would love to be paying those prices again, but $7.99, which is what I remember buying a lot of these kits for back in the day in the store, with my paper route money. And then just, you know, when this kit came out, that I had a paper route. So this is what some of my paper route money went towards, is go to the store and buy a kit or two. Because my paper route, it didn't pay a whole lot, but yeah, I would get roughly $20 a week. and you can buy a model kit and some paints and stuff and do it back then. So, you know, my money would go towards that. And I really enjoyed building some of these and cranking them out. And then I played with them, so many of them didn't survive or last. But this is one of those trips down memory lane for me, and I'm sure you guys do the same. I'd love to hear your stories of kits that you've picked up, that you've built, and just have fond memories of building. Like this is one for me. I got many more. I'll share some more for you, but I got many more that I've enjoyed. You know, I picked up because of that. And sometimes a specific box art. I've done that with a couple of them. Got to have the specific box just because even though the kit's been reissued, I had to have an early version or period correct version for one of the ones I wanted. But this is one of those for me, and I wanted to share it with you and just talk about it and see what kits come to you that way. And, you know, ones that you picked up just strictly for fond memories. Of course, we buy all our kits because they're fun, and we hope to build them, even though sometimes we don't get to them, which this is one. I haven't had this one very long, but it prompted my thoughts and some nostalgic memories for me, and I just wanted to share it with you and hear from you guys on that. So thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments. I really appreciate it. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday. And I'd love to hear your stories, so please share.